First story is titled, Am I the a-hole for not recognizing my ex-girlfriend? I saw my ex-girlfriend, 29 female, in the supermarket last week. She's employed as a cashier there. I did not recognize her at all. We broke up 7 years ago when I moved away to pursue a job opportunity. She also looks very different now. I genuinely did not remember or recognize her face. She looked kind of familiar, but for some reason, I just could not remember. She started talking to me, asking me how I have been, and I was like, sorry, do I know you? She got upset and said I was an a-hole, and it was awkward silence until I paid and left. Later, I recalled the incident to my brother, and he said it could be one of my ex-girlfriends. Then it finally triggered some memories, and I realized she was my ex-girlfriend. I deleted social media a few years back, and I only have one private Instagram account that limited people can view to, so I don't keep up or stalk any of my exes. Additionally, this particular ex had gained a lot of weight since we broke up, and she looked completely different from when we were dating. I saw her again this morning and told her that I was purposely ignoring her, but that I just didn't recognize her at first. She said she doesn't believe that, as we were together for 3 years, and it is impossible to forget someone you dated for 3 years. I pointed out that she looks very different now, and she teared up and asked me to get lost. My brother says she made a Facebook post about me. When your ex says he doesn't recognize you because you got too fat. The post got a lot of attention from her friends saying I was an a-hole. I didn't want to hurt her feelings, but it turns out I did. I'm not going to approach her anymore, but I want to know, am I the a-hole for not recognizing my ex-girlfriend? Edit. The face masks don't apply here because she was wearing a transparent face shield, not the face mask. All the employees serving customers at the store were wearing face shields. I was wearing a face mask, but I have a distinctive scar near my eyebrow that makes it easier for people to recognize me. Now for the top comments. Did you accidentally insinuate that you couldn't recognize her because of her weight gain? I think she might just have some insecurities and problems she needs to work through. No matter what you said or how you said it, she would have come out upset. Not the a-hole. I came here to say this. As a person who struggled with body image for a long time, I can pretty much assure Opie that this is much more a reflection of her issues than his behavior. She's not happy about gaining weight. Most people aren't. And Opie confirmed she doesn't look like the same person anymore. Definitely not the a-hole. Agree, not the a-hole. Just wanted to paraphrase a quote I also saw. Sometimes you are the villain in someone else's story, even if you didn't mean to be. Not the a-hole. You never called her fat, and gaining or losing weight can really change the way someone looks. There was probably nothing you could have done or said to make the situation better after the initial incident, because she's insecure about her weight gain. Best to just move on and not worry about what's happening on social media. Pre-COVID times, I ran into an ex in another country. Crazy small world. And he had no clue who I was. I had lost a significant amount of weight, chopped my hair off, got tattoos. I thought it was hilarious, and I gave him so much crap in a joking way. We got up. I met his fiancée, and then we parted amicably and with a funny story. Part of me expects to someday run into them again, and I will 100% pretend to not recognize them. Yeah, I said she looks so different now compared to when we were dating. I never directly said she gained weight or got fat. My brother says her social media is full of self-hating posts. I feel kind of bad thinking I might have contributed to that. No a-holes here. It's unfortunate and embarrassing. I feel really bad for her. It sounds like she's really sensitive about her weight gain. She's allowed to feel embarrassed and hurt over this. You don't owe her anything, and even apologized. Info. How many exes do you have, and how was the breakup with this one? The breakup was amicable. I wanted to relocate for a job opportunity and she wanted to stay, so we broke up. We didn't feel like we could commit to a long-distance relationship. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister about what her husband sent me 12 days after I lost my son? Me and my husband lost our baby boy, stillbirth, 12 days ago. It gets increasingly hard for us every day, and we're trying our best to remain calm and surround ourselves with our loved ones who support us during these times. Me and my sister are very close. Very close, and we used to spend the majority of our time together. That is, until we both settled down and got married, although she still visits and calls. She's been very supportive and understanding, although my brother-in-law, her husband, tends to be mean and make hurtful comments about me and my husband. My brother-in-law is younger than my husband. He always tries to dictate how my family treat each other and demands to be involved in everything, no matter how big or small. I've distanced myself from him, but I kept in contact with my sister. Throughout my pregnancy, he kept acting strange and making fun of everything my husband and I said about our baby. My sister is currently pregnant. I didn't know that because she didn't tell me, seeing that we're in the middle of grieving, and she probably hasn't found the right time yet. Yesterday, I got mail sent from my brother-in-law. I was confused since we don't talk at all. I opened the envelope to find a copy of a pregnancy test that belongs to my sister with a small note with the words, "I'm so sorry for yours and your husband's loss," handwritten. I was shocked, dumbfounded. I was mad, so mad. This is how I learned that my sister is pregnant for the first time. My husband saw it and he was livid. So we went to see my family and I told my sister what happened. She was upset, but immediately left the house. My mother, father, and older sister were sitting with us, and they argued with me saying I shouldn't have told my sister because I might have just caused a huge issue, and I should have just thrown the mail away and ignored him. My mom freaked out and said that brother-in-law is a jerk, but being petty isn't the answer. She asked if I want my sister to resent my brother-in-law just because we both don't get along. My husband and I got into an argument with her. My dad saw where we're coming from, but said I shouldn't have told her. They themselves didn't know about the pregnancy. They said that my brother-in-law would have told the entire family if he had bad intentions. We left the house after the argument. My mom kept berating me, saying I'm now responsible for whatever happens with my sister. I stopped taking their calls to think about it, and it's terrible. My husband and I decided to go no contact to regain our strength. I don't know if I'll be able to talk to my sister to see what happened with her. My mom keeps trying to guilt me about the situation. If your sister's marriage depends on everyone hiding her husband's true personality from her, then it's a mess either way. You're not an a-hole, but your entire family, minus sis with terrible husband, sure is. This hit the nail on the head for me. If I received a letter from a brother-in-law, I would assume it also came from my sister. Since I'm closer to my sisters than I am with their husbands, I would broach the subject with my sister. Opie did nothing wrong bringing it up with her sister. And if she didn't know before how much of an a-hole her husband was, she definitely does now. Seems like she's got some decisions to make before the baby comes. This whole just ignored hate mail crap is infuriating. If my wife had been sent something this freaking malicious, I'd probably be checked for rabies due to the foam coming out of my mouth. Not an a-hole. Christ. Your brother-in-law went out of his way to try to be hurtful to you and your husband. He knew what he was doing. And your sister had a right to know what type of man she married. This wasn't a simple pregnancy announcement. He went out of his way to send you the used tests. Who does that? I'm so sorry for your loss, and for this awful attack that was made on you. Exactly. Her family saying that brother-in-law would have told the entire family if he had bad intentions makes no sense. Him only telling her sister who just lost a baby is the bad intention. He made sure she and her husband knew, but not the rest of the family. That was clearly malicious intent to go out of his way and hurt the sister and her husband. He's incredibly awful, and they needed to know that. But they seem like they're the type of family that would sit on things and not deal with them because they don't want to face anything which causes the victim to be hurt further and the person with bad intent to keep getting away with things. Just sweeping things under the carpet, enabling abusers. 100% not an a-hole. Not an a-hole. Your brother-in-law sounds psychotic. There was no need to send you their pregnancy test. That's some abhorrent crap right there. Anyone saying you've caused drama needs a wake-up call. Your brother-in-law caused the issue when he decided to be a sicko. I am so dreadfully sorry for your loss. I'm sending you lots of love and light. I hope you'll be okay. Next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for telling my husband that his behavior is completely inappropriate? My husband's mother has never liked me, and she was witchy from day one. Honestly, she never did anything egregious, but I don't tolerate bullying, and he had never been close to her, so we went no contact. We still had a relationship with father-in-law and one sister-in-law, though mother-in-law's other daughter chose not to have a relationship with us. I could tell for a while that it was bothering father-in-law. He was very withdrawn in our wedding. And when I tried to comfort him, he snapped at me that I have no idea how much it hurts to be there without his wife. Mother-in-law almost died over the summer due to a freak accident on a friend's boat. She was in a coma for a couple of days and has had to do physical therapy. Father-in-law called us when she got home and said he can't see us anymore. Because when he was looking at her in a coma, he couldn't live with the fact that he hangs out with people who hate her. And he can't play both sides anymore. My husband got very upset and asked him to reconsider. But father-in-law said from now on they are a package deal, and if we can't respect her, he can't see us. My husband has been devastated, and I've been trying to help him work through it, but he has gone to their house multiple times to talk to his dad. Father-in-law will not see him unless he apologizes to his mom, though mother-in-law said that she doesn't want to see him and doesn't want an apology. The last time dear husband went over there, the sister-in-law we're estranged with called the cops. I sat down with him recently, and we had a serious conversation about how it isn't okay. I said that he needs to respect his dad's boundaries. He can't trespass, and he can't force a relationship. I told him point blank that his actions were completely inappropriate. He is now mad at me for not having empathy, and said that was a robotic response, and he can't lose his dad. Edit for some of the stuff she did. She would not eat my cooking, and clung to father-in-law's arm whining that she was hungry. She was constantly making jokes about my outfits, and my husband must really love me to put up with her frumpiness. When father-in-law bought her things, she would literally be like, "I got something and you didn't." She made jokes about spending all of father-in-law's money because she didn't want us to get any when they died, including sending my husband a picture of a hotel room full of shopping bags and saying, "Your inheritance." She tried to hijack her daughter's wedding and make it a party for herself. She whined and talked in baby talk constantly, because father-in-law thought it was cute. She kept giving me marital advice when she had been asked to stop, and then said I was doing marriage wrong because my husband doesn't baby me. She sprayed me with a hose while she was watering her dog and then just laughed and would not apologize, and said I should get a sense of humor. Now for the top comments. Not Dayhall. Doesn't he understand the concept of no? His parents are telling him no. He needs to respect it and work through his feelings on his own, without repeatedly bothering two traumatized people. The husband doesn't want to lose both of his parents. I do, however, think that his parents are both a-holes. No a-holes here. Your response is logical and he is emotional. You're right, but he's going through a lot. Both the mother-in-law and father-in-law sound like a-holes though. They're pinning this all on you too, rather than accepting that the mother-in-law is just at fault, based on what's provided, for the schism. Can you give some more specific examples of how she treated you? How did you respond? On the face, I agree with you, but it sounds like Opie's leaving a ton out. Going no contact with a mother-in-law simply because they don't get along seems pretty extreme. I would be with you, except for she was witchy to me and honestly never did anything egregious. Almost every mother-in-law is witchy, and we'll put up with that. There are entire threads about mother-in-law from hell with sound reasons to go no contact. To go no contact over witchy behavior, even with your dear husband's blessing, sets you all up for issues later. We were in a no contact situation over some actual egregious behavior from both in-laws, and it ate my husband up emotionally. They are his parents, and I realized if it was perceived that I caused a rift, even though it was joint, he would resent me. While no contact was healthier for me, it was not for him, and therefore not healthy for us. Over time, this may lead to resentment, especially if something happens to his dad and he has not spent time with him. You may become the monster in all of this, because it is easier to blame and lash out at you than directing his guilt and anger evenly. Perhaps seeking a professional marriage counselor with some individual sessions will help you both to navigate this and come through stronger with a way for him to reconnect in some sort of way. There are no a-holes here. Yet. But not comprehending the grief your husband is carrying and having empathy would put the title on you. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for telling my son he can't live with his dad? My son, 13, I will call him Ray, recently started asking to live with his dad. I currently have full custody and his father, I will call him Adam, is behind $50,000 plus in child support. Relevant to know, he moves around and takes jobs off the books, if he even has a job. I, 30 female, have a steady job, a house where he has his own room, live within a great school district, and provided solely for him his entire life. Adam and I split when he was a baby, and he made communicating hell. He denied it was his son and wanted a DNA test. Spoiler, Ray was his. Adam was deplorable towards me and blamed me for all the terrible things in his life. It got to the point where I had to get a restraining order. I knew Ray deserved a relationship with Adam despite how he treated me. I knew he wouldn't hurt him or mistreat him. Unfortunately, it was open season for me, so Ray got an earful of horrible words about his mother. I never once said a terrible thing about Adam and wouldn't let anyone around us say anything if Ray was around. I let them spend time together and build a relationship. I can't communicate with Adam, so I go through a family member for pickup and drop-offs. I've tried to go through him, but he doesn't allow it. Recently, Ray has gotten into gaming, and he plays with Adam, and I think that's where this all started. Also, my husband and I recently had a baby. Now back to Adam. He doesn't have a steady job, lives with his mom, recently got a DUI and possession, lives in a not-so-good school district, and has no car. If he were to live there, he wouldn't have his own room, and wouldn't be able to do some of the extracurricular activities he does when he is with me. So Ray asked me if he could live with his dad. I was upset, but took some time before I responded because I didn't want to let my emotions make my response sour. I asked why, and he couldn't give me an answer. When I was able to talk to him about it, I told him simply that unfortunately that couldn't happen. I didn't go into too many details. I'm not sure how much I should tell him at 14, and I didn't want him to get more upset with me. He asked a few times, and I tell him the same thing. Am I the a-hole for not talking to him more about him staying with his dad and just shutting it down? Edited to add, he is in therapy, but he hates it. It seems to be starting to help him some. I did bring up some concerns about his dad negatively talking about me to the therapist without my son there, and the therapist point blank asked him, and he said that's not impacting our relationship. Not sure how true it was since I was in the room. He is starting to see all the good things we do for him, and is starting to be more grateful, but still thinks the grass is greener over there. Also, his dad has a toddler, which is in a similar situation with their mother having custody. I have in the past brought up that his dad doesn't live in the best part of town, and we have agreed to have him go over more. All he has to do is ask, or have his dad ask through the family member I'm in contact with. Problem is, neither have asked. I bring it up to elicit a response and get a maybe from him and a definite from the family member. Problem is that's getting exhausting. He has started to go over a little more for more extended periods of time over school breaks, but said he wouldn't do schoolwork if he was there. So that means breaks are the only time he could spend extra time there. Not the a-hole. This might be the time to be more open with him though, and explain your reasons. Just a blanket shutdown is going to lead to resentment. Edited to add, you don't have to tell your son everything, but you should be more honest. Tell him about having to switch schools, drop extracurriculars, or not having his own room. Since his dad's finances sound precarious at best, let him know that living with him may mean giving up some of the constants in his life that he's used to, since things like the internet can be shut off if it's not paid. He also probably won't have access to the clothes and tech and other stuff that he's likely used to. You could tell him at this point that there are some aspects of his dad you've been shielding him from, and that you'll tell him more if he wants to know when he's older. The kid is 13, not 5. It sounds like you helped put Adam on a pedestal, while allowing him to talk you down. The kid deserves most of the truth, even if he's not ready for the full truth. Not the a-hole. And that's the end of this video, folks. As always, leave a comment and hit like and subscribe. And if you want more of this content, turn your notification on to get updated on the latest videos. And I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe.